One of the stories to emerge from the lush, mystical forests of Nepal that has deeply affected the curiosity and spiritual quest of the modern world is that of Ram Bahadur Bomjon, also known as Palden Dorji, referred to as the Buddha Boy. Claims that a 15-year-old boy could meditate for months, even years, without food or water, transformed him into a living legend, drawing thousands of people to the remote forests of Nepal. However, this story is as complicated by the dark allegations surrounding it as it is filled with alleged miracles. Ram Bahadur Bomjon was born on the 9th of April 1990 in the village of Ratanpuri, Bara district, Nepal, as the third child of a poor family with 6 children. It has been noted that from childhood, he possessed a quiet, contemplative nature and a deep fondness for nature. Although he was not particularly successful in school, he showed a special interest in meditation and spiritual matters. Even at an early age, it was observed that he would fall into deep contemplation. He had not received any formal Buddhist training or been a student of a renowned guru. It is believed that he acted on his own inner calling. According to Bomjon's own statement, he decided to embark on this arduous retreat with the aim of alleviating the suffering of people in the world, establishing peace, and attaining ultimate enlightenment. When he reached the age of 15, Bomjon's life changed dramatically. On the 16th of May, 2005, he sat under a Bodhi tree in the forested area near his village, Salal Forest, and entered a deep meditation. It was claimed that during this meditation, Bomjon would remain motionless for 6 years, without eating or drinking. This extraordinary news spread rapidly, and thousands, even hundreds of thousands of people from all over Nepal and different parts of the world began to flock to see him. Some began to view him as a reincarnation of Siddhartha Gautama, the Buddha, hence giving him the name Buddha Boy. Observers claimed that he remained motionless for weeks, months, and even more than 1 year, without opening his eyes or consuming water or food. During this period, despite being unsheltered in heavy monsoon rains and enduring freezing winter conditions, he was said to have remained unharmed. There was even a reported incident where he was bitten by a poisonous snake, but claimed to be unharmed, an event followers considered proof of his mystical power. A protection circle, composed of volunteers who continuously patrolled around him and covered him with a sheet, was formed to protect Bomjon from wildlife and extreme weather conditions. These volunteers claimed that no waste exited Bomjon's body and that his breathing was barely perceptible. This area quickly transformed into a pilgrimage site for believers. Ambassadors, journalists, and even some scientists came to investigate this phenomenon. However, these claims also brought about a major controversy because they defied scientific and rational explanations. Physiologists and scientists stated that it was physiologically impossible for the human body to survive for such a long period, especially 6 years without food and water, suggesting the possibility that Bomjon occasionally left his retreat or was secretly fed. Some journalistic investigations, particularly in the Discovery Channel documentary, The Boy with Divine Powers, showed footage where Bomjon had at one point changed his position and moved when the surrounding sheet was periodically removed. Such footage weakened the claims of continuous and uninterrupted meditation. 1 year later, on the 11th of March, 2006, Bomjon temporarily disappeared from the forest and was found 9 months later in another area, again in deep meditation. These disappearances and changes in his retreat location increased doubts about whether he truly remained continuously without food and water. Furthermore, a strange and quickly debunked claim of spontaneous human combustion was also made in the media, which oddly fueled the mythology surrounding him. Nepalese Buddhist leadership and prominent Western Buddhist scholars generally refrained from directly accepting Bomjon as a Buddha reincarnation, tending instead to state that he was a young man engaged in a great spiritual endeavor. Bomjon's story took an increasingly dark turn starting from 2012. Complaints began to emerge that some of his followers, especially women, had been abducted and subjected to physical violence, even torture. It was alleged that individuals who opposed Bomjon's wise advice or disrespected his teachings were physically punished. This raised claims of a cult forming around him with an oppressive hierarchy. Police records show various complaints against Bomjon, particularly starting from 2018. A total of 7 different individuals, 4 Nepali nationals, 3 foreigners, claimed to have been assaulted, imprisoned, or abused by Bomjon. Among these claims, a Slovakian woman alleged that Bomjon had locked her in a room at his retreat for 3 months and repeatedly beaten her, while another individual made the serious accusation that Bomjon had tied him to a tree and attempted to burn him. Details of this incident were reported in police records. Allegations also surfaced that some members of Bomjon's own family, for example some of his brothers, were involved in these incidents, although the rest of the family generally tried to distance themselves or refrain from commenting. These allegations cast a shadow over the Buddha Boy legend and were met with widespread shock and strong reaction from the public. Nepalese police launched a comprehensive investigation based on these complaints and made repeated attempts to take Bomjon into custody. In early 2019, an official arrest warrant was issued for Bomjon. This warrant included charges such as maltreatment and illegal confinement. Since then, the exact whereabouts of Ram Bahadur Bomjon are unknown. It is presumed that he has retreated further into seclusion or is actively evading authorities. The legal process continues and the arrest warrant appears to remain active, but there is no definitive information on his location, and it is considered possible that he may have left Nepal. Ram Bahadur Bomjon's story is a striking and controversial example that highlights the complex interplay between faith, charisma, mysticism, and ethics in the modern world. On one hand, he became a source of hope and inspiration for thousands, with many claiming to have witnessed his miraculous meditation. On the other hand, he has faced serious accusations. His story illustrates both the potential and the dangers of claiming spiritual leadership, and the profound and lasting effects such claims can have on both believers and society at large.